What's up, YouTube? Alright, I'm here to review The Little Giants. This is one of my favorite football movies of all time, if not my favorite now. And I know I was going to review this a day after I reviewed Necessary Roughness. I just didn't have the time to review it, and I had to get some stuff out of the way. But oh well. So now I'm going to review it. So it starts off with a kid called Danny and Kevin. And Danny's acting like he wants to play football, and Danny wants to play football. Kevin's the one who plays football, and he's better than Danny. Forgive me for eating. Danny doesn't get picked. So he's on the injured list, and Kevin is trying to cheer him up because Kevin's the one who's better at football. And there was a water tower that's at Urbana, and I think it was in Urbana, Ohio, something like that. And then he told Danny, one day our name's going to be up there in big bold letters, the O'Shea brothers. We're going to own this town. You and me, buddy. And he kicked off, and so he kicked the ball, and it's 30 years later. Kevin's coaching a football team, and he's a great football player from the past, but now he's a coach. He's putting together a Pee Wee football team. And one of the kids who's trying out is his niece, who's Danny's daughter. And that's Kevin, and that's Danny. They're brothers. Kevin's the older one, and he's putting together the team. So, Icebox, aka Becky, knocks over a kid called Rudy Zoltek. And the funny thing is, he has a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in his helmet. So he says, "Peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Are you nuts?" And Rudy's like, Zoltek eats it, and he's like, "It's still good." And he said, "You'll never get anywhere treating your helmet like a lunchbox." And he said, "What is that? Cheetos, crunchy or puffed?" "Puffed, wimp." And he said, "Everyone from here over go with Coach Butts. Anyone from here over come with me and find out who's going to make this team." So they're throwing footballs to everyone. People are catching. And Hanen, the one they call Hot Hands, would always catch and drop the ball. You know what? He kind of reminds me of Featherstone from Necessary Roughness. It's not It's not the fact that they're both African American. It's the fact that both of them couldn't catch a football at first. I'm not trying to be racist, but they couldn't catch at all. So, Kevin picks the players. He didn't pick Becky, and Becky could beat the crap out of all those people that were there because she's strong. And Zoltek was eating his peanut butter and jelly sandwich that was in the lunchbox. Then Coach Butts, Harold, took it and went, "My mom made that." Then Becky put one of the kids, I think Patterson, in a headlock. They went, "Let him go," and then Danny's like, "Becky, let him go." And like, "Let him go," and he gives her the look, and she's like, "You're lucky my dad showed up." Then Danny came over, cheered them all up because they didn't get picked. And then Zoltek let all of his Reese's Pieces fall to the ground. Okay. So, next up, Becky was, Danny went to go and to go confront Kevin. He's like, what are you doing? And he said, I'm putting together a champion football team, little brother, or something like that. And he said, or little brother? And he says, what about those other kids? Do you see their faces? And he says, well, football ain't about faces, it's about speed. And he said, plus, I can't be wasting my time with a bunch of, and Harold went, losers, and he went, butts. And then he went, what about Becky? She's better than half of those boys. And he said, Danny, I hate to break it to you, but Icebox is a girl. Now, if you maybe if you treated her like a girl, she'd start acting like a girl. Don't tell me how to raise my daughter. Well, don't tell me how to pick my squad. So then, they were over at Kevin's house. They prayed for food, and then his wife didn't understand why she didn't pick Becky, because she's the niece. She's his niece, and she can make boys cry. And he said she's a girl. But then, oh well, so then he wants cheerleaders. But then one of his daughters was all up about that, and then, what's her name? Becky was making hot or chocolate milk, and she said, and then she said something like, I hate not being picked. Hey, you want to go put some dirt tires on the go-kart? Something like that. And she said, no. Forget the tires. Hey, you want to go out in the woods, camp, and make moose sounds? Nah. Alright, forget the moose sounds or something. And he said, you know when Mom said she'd have to do what was better? When she chose to leave? And he said it made them really close, like Danny and his daughter Becky. Icebox is what they call her. And then he said, and when Uncle Kevin didn't pick you, it's sort of the same thing. It lets you get picked for something else other than football or something else. And she said, Dad, I just want to play football. And he said, hey, sweetie, if I had a team, I'd pick you. And then she said, and then he said, hey, sweetie, if I had a team, I'd pick you. And then after that, they were all Zoltek, Rad Tad is what he goes by, Tad. Yeah, and Newbie and Hanan were all hanging out. And then Murphy, Patterson, and Briggs came. 3 of the players that got picked. Sean Murphy was a big guy. They said, we never get picked for anything. Life stinks. Yeah, there goes my shot at the pros. I'm going to have to go off and be a senator. That's what Hanan said. And then Zoltek said, here's a kiss for Murphy. And one for Patterson and Briggs too. And he farted. And Tad starts laughing. And Hanan's like, woo! Woo! Then Sean Murphy and the other 2 come. And they're like, damn, Zolfart, what kind of roadkill did your mom feed you last night? Free-range skunk. This is a private establishment, gentlemen. Yeah, scram! Please, that's what Tad said. And he said, I'm hurt. I'm really hurt. Yeah, and I think Briggs said, we just came by to tell you how incredibly sorry we are that you didn't make the team. And they said, not, and they gave Newbie a wedgie, and they're all like, yeah, and they were going to do some damage, but then they hear a go-kart, and they're like, the Icebox! And then the reason they were running is because Becky could beat the crap out of all of them, so they started pedaling away on their bikes, and then she was in the go-kart, and she knocked Briggs over, I think, and then used something else to put in, what's that kid's name? Patterson's face, and then bumped Sean Murphy into the river. And he said, "I'm going to get you back on the field." And she said, "Don't worry, Murph, you'll get your chance." "Yeah, remember, you and your Spaz Patrol didn't make the team." "Yeah, well, I got news flash for you. We started our own team, and we're going to kick your little cowboy butts." And he said, "You got a team. Who's your coach?" "My dad." "Ha ha! Your dad?" And then she splattered him with mud, and he went, "Ugh." And then it was at lunchtime. Kevin had just sold a car, and he was telling them all how he won the state championship, like how he won a Heisman Trophy and stuff, because he had like three high school championships, All-American title, and Heisman trophies, and all those trophies, you know? It's like, he's sort of like Paul Blake, because Paul Blake had never lost a game in high school, in that, just to say. And he had a lot of high school trophies. But this, in this one, Kevin is at lunch, going to lunch. He's leaving his assistant coach, Harold Butts, to do something. That's his name, B-U-T-S, I think. B-U-T-Z, and his first name is Harold. So what he does is he goes to lunch, and they thought it was 4 seconds, but he said it was 2 seconds. And some other people thought it was 3, but he said it was 2. But then the mayor came to talk to him, and he said there's 2 teams in the town. And then Danny comes in, and then he realizes it's Danny because the mayor said so. So then, he goes over and talks to Danny. He says, what makes you think that you can play football? What makes you think that you can coach football?" And he just got told about it, and he's always like, "I knew you'd see it my way." And something else Kevin said that I forgot to say on, and he says, "Both you and me know those kids can't cut it. What am I supposed to do, lie to them?" And he said, "I knew you'd see it my way." So he said, "Danny, listen to me. These things you do with the kids, I think they're great. No, I think they're admirable. Sorry." And he says, "So listen, it's okay with you if I do stuff with the kids." "Yeah, but not football." "Exactly." And Danny went, "I knew you'd see it my way." And he said, "No, I don't." And he said, "Pardon me? I don't see it your way. I've really never seen it your way. I've really never seen it your way. I've really never seen it your way. I hate your way." And he says, "What's gotten into you? What's gotten into me? I'll tell you. You've gotten into me, and I'm sick of it. Forming our own team." And he said, "League rules clearly state 1 town, 1 team. Can't have 2 teams." And then Wilbur, one of the elderly people, said, "Let's have a playoff." And they said, "That's a great idea, Wilbur. How about it, fellas? How about it? 2 Saturdays from today, 12 noon. Meet me at half court." And they said, "It's the 50-yard line, Dan." Or, "It's the 50-yard line, Dad." That's what Becky said. And he said, "Danny, you don't stand a chance. We just want to play." So they want to, Becky, Zoltek, Tad, and it was like Tad, Zoltek, and Becky. They would all go pick off other people. So they picked up Newbie just to help Danny come up with plays. They got a kid called Johnny. They got a kicker. I forgot what all these kids' names were because all these have. They just pick up people. They picked up a Todd Bosley, aka Jake, in the game. They picked up more people. So then they were all getting players, and then they said if Danny's kids don't win, he'd sweep the shop out for a month, and then everyone was getting helmets or something to play, and then Zoltek had like the Darth Vader helmet. But the funny thing is, over here, they're like, "Do you like football? No? You want to play football? No? Great, you can be on our team." That's what Danny said. So then they're like, I don't know, but I've been told I think Butts is head with mold. You say copper, I say please, and something about Kevin. I'll get to that later. I'll remember that part later. It's just they sing the whole thing. I might post in the description. But you should definitely check this movie out. It's a classic. But then practice is over. And then Becky's eating powdered donuts, and then she sees a guy throwing toilet paper rolls, and they're like, yeah, touchdown! And they're like, what a throw, what a find. And Becky's like, what a hunk. And then she's like, wait a minute, what am I saying? I'm the Icebox. The Icebox doesn't like boys, except for that one. And then he went, and then she ducked down and he went, hey buddy, catch this. And Heyman caught it. And they went, he caught it, good catch, nice arm. And he's like, Junior Floyd, I'm Heyman. Zoltek, I'm Tad. Cool. You want to play some football? Yeah, let's see that arm again. So then he saw Becky, went, hey you! And she fell over and all the desserts fell on her. And she went, hi. And then, and then they went over to Junior's house. He went, I'm gonna go in there. She said, Dad, don't tell jokes. You can't tell jokes. You never could tell jokes. And I said, relax. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna ask his mom if he could play football. I can't go in there. I look like a geek. This doesn't sound like you. You got a crush on this guy? Dad, I'm the Icebox. I don't get crushes. And then she said, there he is. He is so cute. And he's like, relax. And he's like, you didn't tell me his mother was Patty Floyd. What's the difference? I knew her when I was a kid. I had a thing. Will you get a grip? What about me? What about you? You get a grip. Yeah, one of us is going to knock on this door. Yeah, you. We need a quarterback. You do it. You do it. And she rang the doorbell and ran off. And he went, hey, traitor. And he hid. And then she went, and Patty Floyd went, hi, can I? And Danny went, and she went, Danny? And he went, hi, Danny O'Shea. How are you? And he says, fine, really good. Well, come on in. Sure. And then he fell, and then he slipped. But he knew Patty when he was young because she said, hi, Danny, in the beginning. He said, hi, Patty, when they were kids. And then she said, aren't you playing? Nah, I'm on the injured list. And he said, then Junior was playing and he was throwing the ball. And he's like, man, what an arm. Yeah, he had a pretty good arm. And then Heyman caught it in the face mask, and then they pulled it out. That's much like what Featherstone did, because Featherstone would drop every catch, and then he caught it in the face mask, and it said, good, better, that's better. And then Jake came in. He had like a snot bubble at one point, and then Tad popped it, and he said, thanks, I needed that. Then they went to this part. They're going to a part where Jake has a foam thing instead of pads. So they pushed him around, and then he ran into a pool, and they went, Jake? Yeah. And then later they were checking it out. I think that might have been the time they asked to sweep out. And then later they were practicing more. And then later the Cowboys, Kevin was playing, or was later setting up a couch cushion to tackle. And then he ran at it and went out the window because Patterson tried, and then he fell backwards and he said, son, it's a couch cushion. It's a couch cushion. Son, Billy, I want you to wrap your arms around her. Watch the master. And then he said, I want you to film this. Go for it, Daddy. And then he said, Briggs, count it off. Ready? Set, go! And then they went, Kevin! And he ran and he tackled and he went out the window, hit his nuts on a tree branch and fell into the pool. But when he fell into the tree branch, he went, "Oh, doctor!" And then he fell into the pool. And then this is funny because next they're over at a get together with the little giants, and then Danny's calling all their names. They call like Rad, Tad, Simpson. They call one gas man like Zoltek, because Zoltek's a big guy. He's sort of like me, but I didn't weigh that much at that age. Not to be rude. And then next up, it's after that. They all congratulated, and then, and what's her name? Patty came by and talked with Danny, and he says, "Well, you're taller. You have your driver's license, and your face is exactly how I remember it." And then Kevin's over watching his wife and his daughter Karen, or no, Karen's his wife, I think. Debbie. All the kids are watching it, like both of his kids. Hold on. Karen O'Shea, Patty O'Shea, or Priscilla O'Shea and Debbie O'Shea are all watching it, and they're all laughing about it because it's Kevin going outside the window, and he says, I was just making a point that Becky's all they got, and Debbie's like, "Oh, Dad," and he said, "To win, we gotta neutralize her," and she's like, wait, what about Junior?" And he's like, "Who?" So he goes and he has binoculars, and he's like, "Hut 1, hut 2," and he sees him throw, and Harold's like, "Look at the cannon on that kid," and he says, "Yeah, he's playing for the wrong team." And he said, "They're gonna run the super secret play." Then he was gonna tell them what was gonna happen. So, and then he said, "They got them all there, and the quarterback isn't even there." And he said, "They're standing around, butts." And he said, "Oh yeah, but the funny thing is, Danny calls state police and says, 'Hello, state police. I'm making up some lame excuse that he's an 89, saying that people are there in their underwear." And they're like, "Please hurry." Oh. They said, "Nice job." Yeah. And then they were all talking. "They're standing around, butts." Oh yeah. And then the police come. "Freeze!" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm on a roll, huh? You're Sandridge." "Oh, dangerous one." He says, "That's funny. Last night I go out the window. Today I'm arrested, handcuffed, humiliated my own brother." And she said, "Well, imagine how I feel married to a peeping Tom." And he says, "That was a brilliant move, though. You got handed to him. Calling the state cops instead of the local ones. I didn't think Danny had it in him. I will get him back for this, though. This is Pee-wee football. This is supposed to be fun. It's not fun anymore. Now it's war," something like that. Yeah. And then next up, they're showing the Cowboys practice and the Little Giants, And over at the Little Giants practice, you know that Becky has the hots for Junior, that she tackled him, and he says, "Okay, Icebox, you can get off me. Sorry." And then she gets up and then she pushes him down because I think she likes Junior. And Junior, at the age, Devin Sawa, who was in Final Destination, and I know him from the movie Slackers, which I got on DVD not too long ago. Okay. Well, next up, there's a car wash, and the little giants are doing car washes so they could have uniforms, and then Butts is telling them that these people are a bunch of dirt balls, and he says, if I was a mother hen and they was my chicks, I'd lead them in the water and let them drown. And then he said, it's just occurred to me, Harold, because he said, you're going to have to put the hood up on top if you wanted to wash it, Butts. And he says, I didn't come for a car wash. You're wasting our time with this stupid game of yours. Jeez, Dan, you don't even belong on the same field as your brother. If I was a mother hen, you're just going to want $5, $1 for the water, for the wash, Butts. And he says, you're just wasting our time with those little dirt balls. And he says, if I was a mother hen and they was my chicks, I'd live in the water and let them drown. And he says, it just occurred to me, Harold, you're the 10th car that's come in here today. Think you're in time for the free wash. Okay, guys, wash it. And they spray him with a hose. They sprayed the inside. He had the roof off. And they're like all spraying and throwing, and he drives off. And then both Danny and Kevin got a call from Wilbur and his friend, I think, Overall, I think. Yeah. And then they called and told them about this kid called Spike. Like, they said, if he was a trout, you wouldn't throw him back. And then they said, here they come, here they come. Danny's in the go-kart. And Danny's making it. Danny's driving, and he says to Kevin, you following me? No. You following me? No. Are you lying to me? No. He's mine, Danny. And he says, this whole town may love you. That's what Danny said. But I'm the one who knows how truly sick you are. And he says, I treated you like a prince. You ignored me. I took you to see the Cleveland Indians. You left me in the stadium, and then they drove, and then a train came down. And then Kevin was like, damn it. And then Danny made it by with the go-kart. And then he went and met Mike Hammersmith, played by Brian Haley. And then there was Spike Hammersmith, played by Sam Horrigan. So he's this really big kid. Like, he would push first thing he ever touched was a pigskin. And I think he pushed it across the room when he was 4 months old or something. Did first pull up when he was like 18 months old or something. So then they brought him, and everyone was surprised. The whole Little Giants crowd. And but then he said, who am I? That's what he said. Don't tell me, you're Coach O'Shea. That's what Mike Hammersmith said. He said, yeah, I'm Coach O'Shea. Ah, you're Coach O'Shea. Who am I? Who am I? And he said, oh, you remember my own playing days. Remember him. I treasure him. You're the whole reason we moved to this town. And he shook his hand and he said, you look a little small. You look kind of small for a football star. And he said, that's what they all thought. And he said, and he started to laugh. And then he said, so where's his name's Spike. Spike, I want you to meet Coach O'Shea. And Danny stood there, mouth open. Yeah, and then he brought him back and he says, guys, I got great news. We got a new player. And he says, whoa, where's his neck, or where's his blah, blah, blah. He says, Spike's in hell. Spike's in pee-wee hell. He said, guys, Spike here is going to be our new tailback. So Newbie said, great, now we can run the annexation of Puerto Rico. And Spike said, what's the annexation of Puerto Rico? And he says, not sure we're quite ready for that. But then he wants to run Power I. And then Becky O'Shea, they said, who's Spike's lead blocker? The Icebox. Where's he at? Right here. Is Spike mistaken? aren't you a girl? Gee, good eye. Spike don't play with girls. She's pretty good, Spike. Spike don't care. Didn't you just hear? Spike don't play with... I can tackle anything, anytime, anywhere. And he says, listen, you berserko Barbie doll. When you mess with Spike, you mess with death. You can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? Try me. I will. And they said, someone call 911. That's what Jake said. Then he said, Becky, you want to get that? And she says, wait, why do I have to get it? Can I talk to you for a minute? I think if we win, we got a shot. And she said, this is a bunch of crap. So she was at the restaurant hitting ice into a glass or something else into a glass. And she was talking to Kevin. And she wanted to find out what Junior was like and what everything was like. And, hold on. She said that Danny didn't want to win. He just wanted to prove to the world that, or prove to everyone that he wasn't scared of Kevin. But then, and she said, Uncle Kevin, do you think I'm pretty? No. I think you're beautiful. And then, what happened later was Kevin drove Mike Hammersmith to come pick up Spike, and he said, Spike, get in the car, son. What's going on? Oh, no. And he said, you're a cowboy now. And he went, thank you, football god, because earlier he said, you call this a team? And then he knocked Junior over, and he said, hey, pretty boy, when you hand off to Spike next time, put it here. Boom! Something like that. He said, put it, next time you hand off to Spike, put it here. Boom! And you fat lineman about Zoltek, and he says, and you fat lineman, and he said, you rang, and he says, from now on, just get your jelly rolls out of Spike's way, unless you want cleat marks up your back, or up your fat back, something like that. And he said, Spike, get in the car, son. What's going on? Oh, no. And that's what Kevin did. And he says, you're a cowboy now. Thank you, football god. And then Mike Hammersmith came and said, so you're a Heisman Trophy winner, huh? I said I was Coach O'Shea. I never said I was Kevin. And he says, you must think you're really slick. I can't wait till tomorrow. One more day, baby. One more day. Something like that. And then they're like, then they said, now they got Spike. We got nothing. We got us. Yeah, we stink. That's what Heyman said. And then Tad said, because you can't catch hot hands, or you can't catch hot hands. And then they talked to Zoltek, or Zoltek talked to him and said, at least he can run, crushed jerk, or something. And then he said, hey, Zoltek, have another Pop-Tart. Yeah, fart boy. Or can we open your big mouth wide enough, or something like that? And they said, okay, guys, come on, that's enough. And then that's what Danny said. And then Junior's like, yeah, Coach is right. Break it up. And they said, oh, shut up, Junior. You're so good it makes us sick. And he says, hey, you don't want to play? No problemo. I'm out of here. And then one of the other guys, Becky said, nice work. Wasn't for him, we wouldn't have a team. Then like, hey, if it wasn't for him, maybe you stop drooling, play a little more football. Yeah, he's right. And then Tad said, why can't we all play together? And he said, oh, shut up, dipstick. You're probably the main reason Spike quit. And then they said, yeah, stop whining, you big baby. I can cry if I want. It's a free country. I can even do this. Ow! And they went, nice kick. Then they all just walked off. And he said, practice isn't over yet. And then they're all like, who cares? Then Junior and Becky were having a little moment. Like, they're like seeing these two, girl and guy, make out with their tongues. And then they said, ew, that's disgusting. It looks like they're trying to swallow them up. And he said, no, wait. In the movies, they do that little cheek peck like this. Hey, baby. They said, my cousin told me her and her boyfriend used their tongues. Ew, that's disgusting. Yeah, spit swappers. Like them. And they said, tonsil hockey. And they said, your only number one problem about kissing with your own hand is, right? It doesn't kiss back. You want to learn how to kiss? No, I didn't say that. Did you? No. Ew, I just got that vomit taste in my mouth. And she said, hey, we're going to have to learn someday. You know, if you want to have kids or get a job. You can have kids without kissing. Yeah, but you have to have... This is what I'm going to say. You have to have kids by, you know, having sex. Yeah. Here we go. Here comes the second part. So they're all playing the game. You know, they're... Or he said, I guess I want to learn with, and she's like, let me guess, Debbie. Because Debbie and Junior were kind of flirting over at the game maybe a little bit. And then they said that then he wanted to learn with a few girls, maybe cheerleaders, and then she said, hey Junior, I bet if I was more like those girls you want to learn with me, but you're not. You're different. You're cool. You're the icebox. I mean, come on. You're probably the only girl I met that can beat up my dad. And then he walked off, and then Junior, or no, the kids were getting taught by the pros, like the people there were like John Maiden, Stephen Emmett, Bruce Smith, Emmett Smith, and Tim Brown. And then they start playing. Hold on. Then they were playing the game of, or then they were getting some tips from the pro, the little giants were, and then, but I think that might have happened before Junior and Becky had that little thing. I just chose to swap it around a little bit. But then it was the night before, and then Becky went to go get her cheerleading outfit because she wants to be more visible to Junior. So then they started like doing intimidation, like Jake's like, "Arr!" And something I heard on the commentary is that Jake was put as a goalie in soccer, and he broke his arm, so one sleeve was longer than the other in the movie, so they put him in as, like, you know, a goalie. He broke his arm. But, so next up, they're all practicing, they're all wearing, like, cleats and rad tads, trying to do a pull-up, and his feet are on the ground. So he's just pulling himself up a little bit, and then he's like, then Johnny, I think, wanted to see his dad, but his dad always leaves. He always goes on business, so then they ran, then the next day, they're all getting ready for the game, and then, Priest was praying for the, what are they? Was praying for the Cowboys, and then the Giants are like, Giants! 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 And Kevin's like, what the hell? And then they're like paging Spike the Putz. Yeah, that's right, Spike. The icebox is gonna defrost you. And Spike's doing all these dog sounds that's getting scary for the other kids, and then they're taking him down. But then next up, what they're doing is they're getting ready to go out on that field, but then they realized that Becky was a cheerleader, and they were all saying they were hopeless, and then they were going to kick off. So they kicked, but the kicker accidentally kicked Johnny Venero in the balls. Oof, that's going to be painful. You know, fortunately, I've never been kicked there, but I've had a football thrown there. Yeah, over at football practice a long time ago. I was a manager for it. So a kid threw it and tried to hit me in the legs, but he hit me in the balls, unfortunately. So then After that, they were playing. Oh crap! They were playing the game, and then Sean Murphy said to Zoltek, "Get ready, dog breath, because when I'm finished with you, you're gonna be farting out of your mouth and talking out of your butt." And then Zoltek turns and says, "Is that physically possible?" And then he tackles him, and his head was down, and it said, "Are you okay?" "I think so." And they said, I guess it is possible, because it sounded like the sound was coming out of his butt. And he was like, "Are you okay?" "I think so." That's what Tad said. And then Tad said, "Are you okay?" And then Zoltek's like, "I think so." And he says, I guess it is possible. Then they're playing like, they score a touchdown, then Junior's telling them the plays because Johnny's got him all over his stomach. They're playing. They're not scoring at all. They're pulling, and then one player got ran on, and then they said, "That was a cheap shot." And they said, "No penalty." And they said, "Did I pass the spelling test, Mrs. Blah, blah, blah?" And they said, "Wow, Spike knocked them all the way back to second grade. They had 14 to nothing." And then I think Junior tried to punt, but then Hammersmith Spike got it, and then they said, "Hammersmith dives on the ball, touchdown, Cowboys!" So it was halftime, and then the Giants wanted to quit and go on the injured list. So call us if you try to teach coach softball. And then they were all sitting, and then Danny told them everything that happened, that he got on the injured list. He never got up because he didn't get picked, so he hid underneath the bleachers. And then the kids thought they belonged under the bleachers, and he says, "No, you don't. You belong out there with those Cowboys." "You know how I know that? Because I belong out there with my brother." "Give us a break, coach. You can never beat Kevin O'Shea at anything." "Well, that's not true. I did beat him once, or one time." "Where?" "Down Cherry Hill. We used to race our bikes every day down Cherry Hill. And he always beat me, but one time, I beat him." "You beat Kevin down Cherry Hill?" "Yeah." Or, "Yes, I did. He ate my dust." "Big deal. One time." Then they said one time that Tad did a backflip off the high dive and his brother chickened out. And they said, "Roger chickened out? He's a Marine." And then, what's his name? Zoltek said, "That's nothing. One time at Spring Carnival, I beat my brothers at blah, blah, blah." And they said, "You beat Matt and Rad at the cow toss?" Or something like that. And they said, and then Jake said, "One time I went fishing, and I was with my whole family. I was the only one that didn't throw up." And they said, "So what? That still doesn't make us good football players." "Wait a second, guys. Who said you have to be good to play football? You play football because you want to. You play football because it's fun. You play football because you can go out there, pretend you're Emmitt Smith throwing a touchdown pass, or pretend you're Joe Montana throwing a touchdown pass, or Emmitt Smith going for a long run. And even if those Cowboys are better than you, even if they beat you 99 times out of 100, that still leaves them like, one time. Then Junior's like, "Yeah, one time." But there's something I forgot to mention. Since Haanen couldn't catch before the time ended for the first half, for halftime, he put glue on his hands, so he went like that, and he went, "Uh-oh!" So he put on his shirt to see if he could catch it like that on his jersey, but he went, and Spike said, "Hey, hot hands, you're the best player on the team." And Haanen went, it wouldn't come off, and then he finally got it all over his jersey, but his hands were free. And then they started playing, and then they kicked off, the Cowboys did, and then they were getting yard gainers, the Giants weren't. Then the Giants gained a yard later. They're like, "Down!" But this is what they said. "Hey man, they're gonna have to put you in a body bag. Prepare to eat grass." And they're like, and then Zoltek said, "Hey, pig breath, you're in big trouble," to Murphy. And Murphy's like, "How come?" "'Cause football's 80% mental and 40% physical." That's what he picked up from one of the pros. And he said, "What?" And he ran him over. Then They gained a yard. They said 2nd and 9. They gained a yard. We got 1 yard. And then what's his name? Kevin went 1 yard. Don't mean nothing. And they gave the ball to Johnny late in the next play, and then Johnny passed it, and then Junior caught it. Junior's running, and he got a huge yard and the huge yardage gainage, like more than 10 or 15, maybe up to 40. They were making it, and then they said, "First down, Giants on their longest gain of the afternoon." What the hell kind of defense is that? That's what Kevin said. Then they gave, what's the last thing they expect us to do? A reverse to me, so they gave it to Tad. And Tad ran, and he said, I'm going to die. Then they're like, come on, Tad. Tad, don't run out of bounds. And then he sees Sean Murphy and Spike coming, and he ducked. And then they went on a Gatorade cooler and splashed Gatorade everywhere and got it all over their uniform and their jerseys. And he's like, Ted, run! And he went, ah! And he ran, and they're like, go! And then Ted's dad's like, my son scored a touchdown! And he's like, yeah! Then they kicked the extra point, so they're all celebrating. They're like, we scored a touchdown, Giants! My son scored a touchdown! And then they kicked a field goal, or the extra point. And he said, yes, I've done it. And then Spike's dad was helping out with the team, and he said, all right, Spike, I'm not taking any chances. Okay, either you take Junior Floyd out of this game, or you'll be donating kidneys to Aunt Root. Understand? Yes, sir. All right, let's go. And then they kicked off, and then Junior tackled the quarterback, and then, or Junior tackled the ball carrier, and then Spike did this little thing where he went, ah! And then he ran and tackled Junior from behind. The whole crowd booed him, and then they went, personal foul, number 32, White. And he said, what? Are you kidding me? What kind of a call is that? You blind? And they said, that wasn't very nice, you big bully. Then he pushed down Jake. And then Spike's dad was all smiling. And then, because he told his son to cheat like that. And then Kevin came over and went, Hammersmith, if that kid of yours pulls another stunt like that, you're both out of here. And he said, and he went, hey, come on. I thought you wanted to win. Not like that. I mean, trust me, if I would have been the coach, I would have kicked him off the field for good. I would have banned him, because that was Kevin's field. If I would have been Kevin, I would have told him, Hammersmith, get off my field. You're not welcome here anymore. I would have banned him from my football field for good and kicked him out of any of the games, never allowing him to come back, because that's just fucked up. So Becky dropped her pom-poms, what you use to cheer for, and then got in her football uniform, and then he put on the helmet. She said, hi, you sure you want to do this, Becky? Call me Icebox. That's what she said to Danny. Then Junior went, hey, Icebox, kick some butt. And she went, call me Becky. And then he went, then Mike Hammersmith, Spike's dad, went, whoa. What's that cheerleader doing with the helmet on? That's no cheerleader. That's my niece, Becky. She's pissed. And he went, and then they all went, break. And then Spike went, keep clear, Ice Chest, or I'll have to mess up your face. And she glared at him. And then they threw the ball to Spike. And then Becky got down right in front of him. And then Spike did a flipped over because he got hurt really bad. And then they said, what a hit by Becky O'Shea. The ball's loose. Hanen covers it up. Hanen covers it up. Tighter than the lid on a pickle jar. Yes! Alright, that's my girl. Yeah, ow! That's what Junior did because he was hurt from Spike doing that crappy cheap shot. If he would have done that to me, I would have grabbed his football helmet and smacked him. That's how angry I get if someone injures me for no reason. But I wouldn't have really done that. I'm pretty sure that if they would have found out that Spike's dad would have done that, they would have sued him. That Spike's dad wanted him to do that. They could have sued him for that. Because that's, you can do that in football, but you can't cheap shot someone like that. You can't just cheat. That's why Kevin told off Mike. Alright, moving on. So, Johnny's dad was coming to the game, so they said pitch to Johnny. They went, Zoltek, come here. You rang, and they told him to play, and then they said pitch to Johnny. Pitch to Johnny? You can't pitch to Johnny. I'm Johnny. Zoltek, he's going to need some running room. Gotcha. And he said, excuse me, guys, come on. And they went, hey, excuse me, maybe you could help me. I'm trying to remember what I had for lunch. How? And Sean's like, how could we do that? By taking a whiff of this. And he farted in their direction, and they all ran off. And he said, just run to, now what? Just run to him. And Johnny's like, Dad, and he ran. And he's like, Dad, and all the players are trying to tackle him, but he moves so they can't tackle him. He's like, Dad, and then they said, touchdown Giants. The something is narrowed epithet on a brilliant piece of running by Johnny Venero. And then then Jake got hurt. They said, what's the matter, Four Eyes? And they poked him in the eyes. Want your mama? And he went, don't be talking about my mama. Then his mom went, watching Jake play football has been really good for my family. Or really great for my family. And then he tackled Sean Murphy in retaliation for talking about his mom like that. So he tackled him. And then she said, rip their filthy ears off, Jankster. Woo, 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 woo. Yes. And then they started playing some more. And then the Giants made it down the field more. And then the Giants... Jake went, I use these for acid and indigestion. So what are we going to use these for? Intimidation. And then they go, Arr, and there's all this bubbly coming out. And then the players are like, the Cowboys are like, then the last Cowboys mouthpiece falls out. And then they all tackle. And then they get the ball back. And then they throw it to Heenan. And sort of like Featherstone. What happens is, Featherstone finally caught the ball, and then Heenan saw it as being a toilet paper roll, and then he caught it and scored a touchdown, and then they went, all right, hey. His parents went, that's my boy, and then Junior stood up and went, all right, Hayden, yeah. And then the Cowboys made it down, and then what's his name? Kevin went, it's the wrong defense, Harold. And then they were playing some more. And then the Giants were making it down the field. No, the Cowboys were. And they're like, all right. And then he went, stick a fork in them. They're done, baby. Oh! And they're hugging and they're all ready. And then they told him to play. But then Patty came on the field and told Danny about the winning touchdown play and went, timeout. Giants have called a timeout, so they told the play that Spike was going to do it. We have to stop him. He's too strong. We can do it together. And then they were doing the play, and then Kevin's like, they know the play. And looks over at Danny. And then the funny thing is, Spike's ready, but then 4 little Giants come over to tackle him. And Becky's running in the direction where Spike's running. And then he's running. And Becky's running over there, and then he's like, turn it up! And he jumps, and then Becky jumps, and they stop him just before he gets on. And he didn't even make a touchdown. They said, he was over. No, we stopped him. They broke the play, and he was in. No way. Then they went, everyone move. Giants ball! And they're like, oh, no! That's what Spike's like. And they're like, Giants ball! And they're like, told you, timeout! And Spike's dad is just enraged, and then they ran the annexation of Puerto Rico. So Junior got back in the game because he said, put me in. I want to kick some butt. And what Hayden said, he's like, Coach, there's still 4 seconds left. And then Tad said, we can beat these guys. He's like, we can beat these guys. And he's like, yeah, put me in, Coach. I want to kick some butt. So then they play. They fake the ball to Johnny. Or no, to Tad, and then they fake it to Becky, and they're chasing Becky, and Zoltek has the ball hiding, and then they all tackle Becky. He's like, yeah, no mercy, no ball. And Zoltek's running. He's like, Spike, he's got the ball. He's like, and he pitches it to Junior, and then Junior runs, and then he gets tackled by Spike, and then he gives it to Jake, and Jake's like, I got it! I got it! His mom's like, come on! And he's like, I'm going to score a touchdown! And number 22's like, oh, no, you're not. And then they missed, and then he ran right into a pole. But they won, and Danny's like, yeah! And they're like, we won! And they're all celebrating, and then Spike stood there and just went, because it shows he was a good sport, so he started to clap, and the players are like, and then he nudges them, and then some more players start to clap, and I think some players didn't clap. What I have to say to them is, don't be a poor sport, because the Little Giants played with a lot of heart. Then Danny's like, we won, and he hugged Becky, and then Junior and Becky started jumping, saying, we won, yeah, we won, and then he said, Patty Floyd, I was wondering if you'd be interested in having dinner with me. That's what Danny said. And then they kissed, and he said, fine, if you like to think about it. They hugged. And then Kevin came over, or Spike Hammersmith's dad, Mike, started to cry. And he said, get a grip, Dad. And then, what's her name? Karen O'Shea. Kevin's wife was cheering for the Little Giants earlier, and he's like, and she's like, she sits down, and then she said, yeah, and she's like, and he's like, and she's like, Giants, and he said, congratulations, Danny, it looks like you're the new head coach around here. If you're still pissed off at me, don't be, because if I wasn't tough on you when we were kids, you wouldn't have ever been able to beat me today. And this is what Kevin did when he lost. But then he accepted it, and he congratulated his little brother, and then he said, okay. And he said, listen, Kevin, my guys are wondering what they want. I'm doing the review still. No. Sorry for the interruption. And then he said, no, actually, they're wondering if your team wants to join up with the Little Giants. One town, one team? Alright, I'll tell my boys. Because the big water tower was supposed to say O'Shea Brothers, but it says, home of football is great, Kevin O'Shea. Home of football is great, Kevin O'Shea. And then he said, well, there is one thing. And he said, what? And said, home of the O'Shea Brothers, which I like better. And they had a bet that there was a busted down gas station that was servicing the community for over 30 years. It's a landmark. And he said, ought to be a landfill. And he said, you know, you surprise me. You don't know anything about loyalty. You don't know anything about heart. I would put that gas station up against any business in this town. Would you, Danny? Yes, I would. And it was the car lot that Kevin owned against Danny's gas station, but then they changed it to just say the water tower said home of the O'Shea Brothers. No, nothing about football, just said home of the O'Shea Brothers. And he said, well, there is one thing. What? And then it said home of football is great, Kevin O'Shea, then home of the O'Shea Brothers. Alright, all in all, this movie is awesome. I give it a 10 out of 10. This movie is very underrated. There's a lot more underrated movies in there. I think Gene and Siskel and Ebert gave this a negative review. I give it a 10 out of 10. Rick Moranis is hilarious in this movie. And I like him from movies like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Spaceballs. Now he's in this. He's in Honey, I Blew Up the Kids, Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. He's in the Ghostbusters. He's in the Ghostbusters 2. I like Rick Moranis. This movie is a blast. Check it out. It's really expensive, though. On Amazon, we got it for about $20. On Amazon, even the DVD, even the copy of the the VHS was expensive. It came out in 1994. The first time one was 30 years earlier. It took place in 1964. Then it was 1994. There's a cheaper price for about $9 to $13, like Little Big League, Little Giants, Agni Ray, Smurf Ninjas would be the other one, and then Hometown Legend for $9 to $13. But then you got Little Giants, and the new copies are like $79.88, $79.99, $93.87 with free shipping, $259, $133, $110. You know, that's expensive for all this. And the used copies go up to $30. $30, 30, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, $49.99 free shipping, $46, 53, 49, 55, 58, 79, 81, 89. I mean, price a little outrageous. So my mom bought this one for about $20. I was there when I ordered it because I told her that I wanted that. Okay, so check out this movie. I'll probably post a link in the description where you can watch it for free, virus free, probably. You would love this movie. Oh my gosh, I love this movie so much. Please check it out. It's a blast. It's funny. It's a classic to me. Alright, bye. Peace. Thank you for watching. Bye. Oh, this movie actually came out 20 years ago. Devon Sawa was also in Final Destination. This is when he was 16. Hold on. So that was 20 years ago. And Devon Sawa is now 36. Well, anyway, stay up to date and subscribe. Alright, bye. Peace. Check out this movie. It's amazing. Alright, bye.